Good morning. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 5 of the Flight Plan Podcast. My guest today is Kareem Canston, a respected entrepreneur and strategic advisor whose insight has helped leaders gain clarity and move forward with confidence. He also serves as my business advisor, so this conversation is both personal and powerful. Good morning, Kareem.
Good morning, man.
How
Good
are
morning,
you?
Preston. Good.
Good. Just a few questions about your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.
Sure.
What was a moment in your journey when clarity, not confidence, changed everything for you?
Man, it's clarity, man. You always got to get clarity in business. I think business changes so much,
Mhm.
and I would say I've always been on a journey of trying to figure out what is the right thing to do.
Mhm.
And so I think the best thing people could do is really get, mentors or coaches. Um, and I would say it's taken a long time to get really specific on some of the stuff that I do, because I used to offer like 14 things
Mhm. Right,
on my
right.
business
Yeah,
card on the back, right? People
right.
like, what do you do? You do business coaching, you do leadership training, you do
Mhm.
motivation. Like, what do you do? And then I was like, all right, let me hone it down to what I do all the time is business strategy coaching.
Got it.
And so I was like, let me use that and focus on that, and then you could add things to it once people work with
Got it. Yeah, I know when the first thing you told me was niche down, and I was like, niche down.
you.
Because you can't be everything to everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and then there's people like I remember attending a conference, and there's a lady, her name is Tiffany Montgomery here in Raleigh,
Mhm.
and she does like entrepreneurship stuff. My wife is into her stuff, really not me. So we went to a conference in Dallas, and it was this lady
Mhm.
named Nicole Walters, and she talked about clarity,
Okay.
and she had a clarity course, and
Right.
the goal was like get clear on what you do.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's key.
Mhm.
Get clear on what you do, because if you can't get clear, who else is going to understand clearly?
That's right. That's right.
Makes sense. All right. And how do you personally distinguish between being busy and actually making progress?
Wow, that's no joke, man. There's a guy, and there's a whole lot of people I didn't warm up to in the beginning,
Mhm.
and then I'm like, now I understand what they are. So Myron Golden is a
Yeah,
guy called Make More Offers,
I
right?
watched Myron Golden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he was at a conference once again. My wife went to, and she was watching the kids, and I went to his session. I'm like, man, this guy's arrogant.
Mhm.
He is too pushy, too bossy, and I didn't understand him. He just, just didn't just sit right with me. And then I don't know why I started watching him, and I'm like, man, he got some good stuff.
Right.
And his biggest thing wasn't about being upset that people are going to say yes to work with you.
Uh-huh.
He was like, just make an offer.
Okay.
He said the issues with our business owners, we don't make enough offers,
Mhm.
and we try to always like try to make something perfect with the sales thing and stuff like
Right.
that. He's like, just make offers. So now I'm just making offers.
Okay.
I tell people, hey, listen, you want to work with me or not? This is what the fee is. And then I move on. Versus like I used to be calling the people. Hey,
Right.
let's sign the
Right.
contract. Now I'm just like, hey, here's the offer. You want to work with me? Nope. And then try to go to the next one.
Okay. So no hard sell, just put it out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, I still I need to tweak. I'm not a salesperson, so I need to
Mhm.
tweak my how I get people to see the opportunity
Got it.
versus telling them about what I could do for them.
Right.
It's kind of like, you buy a car, right? And
Uh-huh.
the car's like, the guy's like, hey, man, you know what? This is what the AC does. And no, listen, wouldn't you like to drive a nice car? And it's going to get you
Mhm.
A to Z. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to talk about those features.
Right.
And I need to be saying, hey, don't you know if I work with you, you could end up here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So you focus on what value you bring to or what you can do.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
need to go to the pain. I need to hit the pain more.
Mhm.
So like, I remember I was doing some sales stuff, a good friend of mine was trying to get me to sell people,
Right.
but people didn't have a pain.
Mhm.
So it was like they had enough money to pay for what I had,
Mhm.
but they didn't have a pain.
Okay.
And because they didn't have a pain and we couldn't pull it out, and what I learned with that case, don't sell them all the time. Like
Got it.
if they can't pull the pain out, then you know what?
Okay.
Just move on and say, hey, all right, maybe you connect with me in the future.
So for those who don't know, what do you mean by pain?
So it's almost like let me see, how can I say it? And maybe I'll use it with franchising because that's what I was really talking about. So there's people right now that are getting laid off in the IT field,
Right.
have high income,
Mm-hmm.
they have a lot of savings, but they know they just can't jump back into an IT job
Right, right,
because
right, right,
they're
right,
getting laid off. So they're like, all right, what can I do to make a lot of money? Well,
right.
maybe it's own a franchise business. So those people have money to pay you. They have a big savings, but I have to figure out what is they paying. Is they paying they're trying to grow their wealth?
Okay,
Is they
okay,
paying they
okay.
want to have a free, want to be autonomous and don't have to listen to anybody? Because their pain is not the money.
Got it.
And so I was always focused on the amount of
Mhm.
money they had to pay for a coaching program. I should focus on what is their pain. Their pain is that I have to figure out what I'm gonna do in the next 10, 20 years to keep my income and build my wealth still.
Okay, okay.
So I should have been talking about, so what are you trying to do with your goals and your wealth versus trying to, hey man, I can help you out, coach. I
Okay.
can help you get your business up and, once you get the franchise, because I do the after, once they sign a franchise agreement, then I have a meeting with them. And then the goal is to sell them a coaching program.
Okay, got it.
But during that time, when I found out those people didn't even get into the franchise yet because it might take 3 to 6 months
Right.
to get, especially if they have to get a building.
Mhm.
They might have to build out a space, find a space. So at that time, I usually don't, when I know that I don't sell hard to say, all right, what can I help you with? It might be, hey, I need financing. I don't know what I don't know about franchising,
Right,
and
right,
maybe
right.
that's the pain I could help them with.
Okay, okay, got it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So in other words, it's the need, what their main need is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like what you're doing, right? You're gonna deal with mid or high level managers, right?
Right,
You're like, well, they got it all together, right? But
right.
their pain might be, man, I got this boss, man.
Got it, got
They
it,
just
got
they
it.
just on me. How can I figure out how do I could make a better relationship with them, but then also look for my future?
Got it. Okay, okay,
You
okay,
know what I'm saying? Like
okay.
going to them like, hey, you want to do coaching? Their company probably offers coaching.
Right, right, right.
But is that person inside the business, are they going to speak to you, very honestly? Probably not.
Probably not. They work for the business,
Yeah,
so
they work
that's
for the
maybe
business.
the first loyalty. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I remember I went to HR, I had an issue with somebody, and the HR person was like, Kareem, I get paid by this company, right?
Mhm.
I was like, yes. She was like, well, I can't. I could give you some information, but I'm protecting the company,
Right, right,
so
right,
I'm not
right.
gonna be. And she was a nice lady. She's like, I'm not gonna tell you really what to do
Yeah,
because the company's paying.
yeah. It's nice how they even tell you that.
Yeah, yeah.
So you could have not said anything. Just said, "Oh, okay,
That's right.
okay, good deal, good deal, good insight." What decision did you delay the longest that ended up unlocking your next level?
Wow. I would say buying a business. Um, I always would like to stop stuff, and then I used to do. I was in this program called Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small
Okay,
Businesses,
okay.
and then I was advisor, and then I trained. Then I was like the lead trainer. I had all these businesses coming in, man. It was like, man, I got 20 employees. I have XYZ, buildings. And so I'm like, man, I'm sitting here coaching these people.
Right, right, right.
And even though that I've done business and consultant, but I didn't deal with their day-to-day struggles, like having employees, like having stuff. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna decide I'm gonna buy a business, right? So me and my wife, before we moved down here to North Carolina in 2021, we was like, we're gonna buy a business. So we started looking at businesses. We put an offers on a shoe store, an offer on this, and then we was like, let's maybe a franchise. And then we were gonna do a new Little Caesars franchise, but it was like $500,000
Wow,
to start it. He was like, nope, we're not going to do it. And then we saw one up for sale for 125,000, no, 200,000.
okay.
And so we bought that one operated for 125,000. So I was like, it just automatically just thrust us into a different mindset.
Got it. Got it.
You have employees, you have overhead, you're making an impact, and you know what? Hey, we got to figure it out.
Right, right, right. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I think sometimes a lot, as I tell certain times with business owners, um, like we might like let's wait for the right opportunity, but then sometimes you just need speed.
yeah. I got you. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you just have to make the opportunity right. I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And make a decision. Like sometimes you just got to make a decision, and it might be right, it might be wrong, and you just keep it moving.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. 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 When things feel uncertain, what helps you move forward instead of staying stuck?
Wow. I would say God, reading scripture, praying, um, and then as a business owner, like things keep on moving, right? You know
Right.
that,
Oh
right?
yeah.
You
Oh
and
yeah. Oh
your wife and the things you do.
yeah.
Stuff moves no
Yeah.
matter what, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I could sit here and say, hey, I'm not gonna make a move once. And sometimes you might need to do that. Like it depends, right? But
Right.
if you're serving people or selling a product and the people are there,
Mhm.
you got to make a decision. Are you gonna sell a product or are you gonna provide the
Right.
service
Right. Right. Right.
today? Or are you gonna close down or not? And then sometimes you don't have a decision like COVID.
Mhm.
That just totally changed everything
Oh yeah. Oh
where
yeah.
businesses didn't have a choice to stay open or not or do certain things. So that's a little bit different. But if you have an opportunity to make a decision,
Right.
you just got to do it. And hopefully you could just get some good advice.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. Yeah, it makes sense. I guess you gotta learn how to pivot a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
A
man.
lot.
Yeah, you got to pivot it. It's like almost like every day sometimes.
Every day. Yeah, I can understand that. Every day. How has your definition of leadership changed as you've grown as a business owner?
Mm. So there's three types of leadership that I always tell people. So you can have an authoritative person, you can have a democratic person, or you can be laissez-faire where you just like whatever goes. So I'm like a democratic person.
Okay.
I always try to check in with people. I try to get votes on certain things, but I've started to turn to authoritative
Okay.
more because just because of the nature of the business I'm in, I got to make a decision.
Right.
I can't wait sometimes for somebody to get back to me or see what happens. So, a lot of people, even my employees sometimes like, man, you're a little bit soft, blah, blah, blah. Why you didn't write somebody up? Why you didn't get rid of them? Why because I would do it a different way
Yeah.
because in certain industries, it is so, you hear people screaming at people, throwing things at people. I'm like, that's not the business I want to run.
Right. Right. Right.
And so I've been getting more authoritative just because of I've had to
Mhm.
because I had to put my foot down on certain things, like in our industry, especially food, there's a lot of comers and goers.
Right.
Um, retail industry is big about people having cash, so you will have death.
Mhm.
And so you just got to be authoritative sometimes. Like I'm not dealing with this anymore. I've seen these type of things, and then you just got to make decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think you got to be able to change with your leadership.
Depending on what goes on and what the business is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because authoritative leader is always not going to be the best for
Right. 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 Yeah.
at every single time. You
Okay.
got to let it people lead. Because if not, you're going to be doing everything.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Delegating, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like think about it, right? If you have, you worked in big businesses, if you have a CEO
Mhm.
and you have 100 people,
Mhm.
that CEO gets rid of those 100 people, that CEO's not gonna have a job.
Right. Exactly. Right. Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
they could be authoritative to a point, but they got to let people do stuff because if not,
Mhm.
they have nobody to run that operation.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah. You got to kind of like a mix of both, like when it's called for, I guess.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. What mindset shift helped you stop reacting to pressure and start leading with intention?
Mm. There is a guy, same guy I do some business consulting with. His name's Tarek Johnson. One day I was on a call with him. I was like, yo, man, I gotta bring a check to the store. I gotta drive an hour. Right?
Right.
He said, hold on. He's like, stop. Did you just say you gotta drive an hour to bring a check to the store to pay a bill? And he was like, why are you doing that for? I was like, because they don't have no checks at the store. And he says, that doesn't make any sense. So you're gonna spend almost 3 hours in total
Right.
back and forth. And he's like, doesn't make any sense. He says, Kareem, figure out a better way to do that. And so we did. So he's like, all right, what we're gonna do now? We call the bank. We say, hey, we need a check. My manager will pick it up. The manager picked up the check. You know.
Okay. Okay.
So we just right now it's like we have to figure out better ways to be efficient. Like I was
Right.
talking to another business owner, and I was coaching her. She owns a coffee shop. She's like, yo, I gotta go to this place and that place and buy. I'm like, how many places you're buying product from?
Right. Right.
I'm like, I'm just thinking about the amount of time she's wasting in her car,
Mhm.
and that's not being efficient. So I said, have you thought about being more efficient? She's like, we have, but we haven't done it.
Right.
I'm like, well, you got to do it.
Okay.
I'm like,
Okay.
if I take what you would pay yourself and you decide to drive all the way around town
Mhm.
to pick up products, it's not worth it.
Mhm.
You know.
Right. Yeah. You lose time. Like,
Yeah, yeah. So it's like we all have 24 hours in a day.
right.
What we do with it is what we do with it, right? So we got to figure out how do we be more efficient.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you find that it's helped by streamlining your days more.
Yeah. And then sometimes because a lot of times, especially with coaching, I'm doing most of the stuff myself. I try to find more efficient ways to do it.
Right.
So like
Right.
now I have a customer relationship system that I can put emails on, automatic. And now I want to implement this whole bot thing
Okay. Okay. Okay.
where it could answer stuff for you. I haven't done that yet
Oh,
though.
yeah. That's interesting. I've been looking at that too, trying to figure out how it works. But yeah, it seems a little complicated. Probably
Yeah.
isn't as complicated as I think, but it looks that way.
Yeah, because it could be the same questions. Like if it's the same questions,
Hmm.
it's like it's gonna be the same question. So you
Right.
set it up so it can respond to the questions. But if the question is too high level, you say, all right, set up a meeting.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah.
sense. Okay. What's one pattern you have to break to experience real growth, personally and professionally?
Reacting to everything.
Okay.
You get hey, or it's like and you might see it all too, but you get that bad
Hmm.
response from a client
Hmm.
or a customer,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you feel like you gotta respond
Right. Right.
right
Right.
then and there. And now I take it, I just like sit down and like, all right, let me think about it.
Okay.
So like, there's a lady I was helping. It's almost not almost a year, maybe like 6 months. She's like, helping her trying to find some business grants. She's in Florida. She's had a couple people turn over, and I was gonna say that to her. I was like, "Hey, you had two people work on this. That's not my fault."
Mhm.
But I did. I stopped. I said, before I write this email,
Right.
before I respond to her, let me think about it. Then also, what I've been using also is ChatGPT.
Okay. Okay.
So I would take the email and put it in there and say, hey, how, based on who I am, how should I respond? And then I'll tweak it. Um, and yeah, I just took my time. So sometimes you just gotta hold up and don't react,
Right. Right.
you know.
Got it.
Because
Yeah.
usually I would react. I get an email, I get a phone call, and somebody's like, hey, we need this real quick. And I'm like, oh, now I say, hold on. So my wife said, hey, I hear you on the phone a lot. You be saying to people, hey, let me think about it, or I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I'm gonna use that cream because usually I would just react.
Right. 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 Yeah.
Something happens, there's an issue, I'll try to fix it.
Okay. Yeah. So now you take a pause, think about it, how you should respond, and what
Yeah,
way to respond, that kind of thing. Yeah. That
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, and maybe and it can be hard. Like I just think about um, certain things that happen in the business, and you just like, hey, hold up, all right. If I could just let me just breathe real quick. It's not an emergency. Let me try to figure something out. Or maybe I'll call somebody else and say,
Right.
hey, what did you do with this thing?
Mhm.
Like I remember when we first took over our first little Caesar store, the internet went down.
Okay.
Not because of us, is because of Spectrum changed. They called me up. I was doing something. They're like, yo, I'm gonna reduce your rate.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I'm like, for real? I'm like, yeah, let's get it done. So the guy was like, the only thing you have to do, I think it was like 12 o'clock, the only thing you have to do at the end of the night, unplug the modem and plug it back in.
Mhm.
When he changed our service, he knocked the whole thing down
Oh wow.
for 2 days.
Ooh.
I was like, are you kidding me? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna close. And I'm like, no, hold on. Let me call another franchisee. I'm like, what should I do? It was like, take cash.
Mhm.
The people walk in, say, listen, your internet is down. You're gonna take cash. So for 2 days it was down. When Spectrum came in, the technician couldn't even get it up and running. He was like, I don't know what happened to it. He's like, he had to call somebody else to get it to get it fixed. And so sometimes you just gotta take it slow, maybe call somebody else, and then you figure it out.
Right. Right. Right.
But I learned something from them. I'm like, hey, if the internet's out, hey, I got to do something different.
Yeah. 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 Good. So you learn something new every day in business.
Yeah, man, every day, every day, man. You're running a business, you're gonna learn something,
Right. Right.
good
Right.
or bad, right?
Yeah. Right. Good or bad. Well, even if it's bad, you still learn from that bad thing. So,
Yeah, so it's a learning
yeah,
experience.
definitely, definitely. How do you create clarity when you don't yet have all the answers?
Wow, that's a good one. I'm an education junkie, man. I don't know. Everybody when they have a course and when they have something, I'm always trying to learn something. So that's how I try to create clarity.
Mhm.
But then you got to figure out that now you got to act.
Right.
And
Right.
so one of the things I've been saying to myself, I'm like, you know what? Like I attended a course. They had like a summit, all these speakers this week. I listened to it. I couldn't attend every session. I'm like, man, I'm about to buy that education course. And some told me like, no, you bought a lot of this information
Right.
already.
Right. Right.
Now it's time to implement. So one of the ways I tell people, I said, listen, hey, you know what? Go to somebody's whatever presentation, or go look them up on YouTube or social media, get some information about something, and then see if you can figure it out yourself. If you can't, then maybe you need a coach. Maybe
Right.
you need an advisor to help you out with that process.
Okay. 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 So did you find the culture advisor was effective?
Yeah, yeah. And then my friend, this is crazy. No, this other guy, he's an IT guy. He said, Kareem, you know what? I stopped paying for coaches. I'm like, what? And he was like, I'm like, so what are you doing? He says, I use ChatGPT. He says, so he trained ChatGPT. He puts the coaches he likes,
Right.
the big coaches, like Alex Hormozy, or I don't know, people like Tony Robbins, and he says, put him in the chat. And he says, I want you to be my coach, all these people.
Okay.
So I tried it. I mean, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I would say it's not as effective as you dealing with somebody one on one.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. 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 Yeah.
But that's the way. The AI right now is crazy, man. I'll be looking at videos. I'm like, that is not real.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it looks real.
Yeah. I've been fooled a few times, man. I'll see something and go, wow. And then I say, wait a minute, that can't be
That's right.
possible.
It's like outrageous.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So for people, I was like, try to get some education and then do some implementation.
Okay.
Right? It's kind of like my wife used to work at the school, Rhode Island School of Design, and they would have these things about, they always are, I forgot what it's called, a crit or something. They always are testing, and big companies like Boeing, all the manufacturers go to them
Right.
to kind of help them out about this whole testing thing. So we get it messed up because we try to be perfect, but a lot of companies are testing. They know everything's not perfect.
Got it. Okay.
And they're always testing something, always testing it out. Sad to say, planes, right? They're not perfect.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
go out of the sky, they
Yeah.
have issues. Well, those companies come, they try to test. They test,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
test,
Yeah.
Like I was looking at a thing about an airplane, and these people said the airplane wasn't fully built, but they had to fly it.
Wow.
And they signed, letters, whoever's the pilots, and they was like, listen, man, we don't know, we might die. But they flew that plane.
Wow.
Without everything being all correct. And
If there's a message in that alone, if you think about
yeah.
it.
And I was like, what? They flew this plane. I think it was the 737, whatever. I forgot, the big jumbo jet or something. It's like, yeah, we flew that. It wasn't ready. It wasn't baked. And
Wow.
we didn't know if it was going to get off the ground or not. We didn't know if he was going to land.
Yeah. Yeah. I worked for a company one time, and they knew the product wasn't going to be totally effective. Say, oh, it's going to be 87% effective. We're going to market anyway.
Anyway.
Like, okay.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
But it's like us as people, we think things have to be perfect.
Right. Especially as an entrepreneur, you think everything has to be just. I mean, even coming in this month, I must have tried the lights 100 different times.
Yeah.
And maybe set up. And I said, well, this is going to be good, and I could easily be there all day just trying to set up just for that one thing. So
yeah. One thing I learned too. There was with email, like emails or whatever. Like, hey, why does the link doesn't work or whatever. And I found out like a year, 2 years ago, people are started to do emails with things broken.
Really?
To see if people are actually clicking on the links or not.
Oh.
So last week I did an email out to my email list, and I didn't know if the links were working or not. But I'm like, yo, why is the links not working? And so when I'm like, man, I sent the email out, and then people were like, hey, Kareem, the link's not working. I'm like, oh, people open up the email.
Got it.
So I'm like, all right. So that means that people are looking at my content.
Okay. So that's a good test.
Yeah, it's a good test.
Right.
I did it wrong, but
Right, but it still worked out.
It still worked out. And I see people do that now. They the email tags be like, oh, I made a mistake in the email, so you can open up an email. Right. And I'm like, oh,
psychological.
Right. Yeah. So it's psychological, right? And so, and one of the things that somebody told me, this guy, Bill Davis, I think he was doing coaching. He says, listen, most of the companies do, like you said, 85% of things right, and they make tons of money.
Right.
They know that there's mistakes. There's no they just keep it moving.
They don't try to be perfect.
No, they don't
we
try to be
we
perfect.
can. Yeah.
Can we put something out on the market and make some money from it, and it's not 100% there?
Interesting. That plane thing is a little scary, but
that thing was scary. I was like, these dudes about to fly a plane. They don't know if it's gonna fly.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Wow.
But that's what they signed up to.
Yeah.
And they said Microsoft was like that. They said Microsoft always knew the products they were releasing was going to have bugs, and you were going to have to come back to them to fix it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, what? It was like, that's why Bill Gates was a
Yeah.
genius.
I believe it. I was on the phone with them one time for like 6, 7 hours
Mm.
years ago trying to figure something out. And yeah. So I'm like, how could you not know? But they knew.
They know. They know what they're putting out on the market. They know where the bugs are,
Mhm.
and so it's like, we gotta make some money.
Yeah. Yeah. Do what you got to do, I guess.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and I think that's why, if we could help people know that, like, hey man, you are gonna make mistakes,
Mhm.
and there's no foolproof method for anything,
Right.
and you just gotta learn. You just gotta always be learning.
Yeah. 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 That makes sense. What advice would you give someone who feels capable but underutilized right
Mm. I would say, can you use your gift at another place?
now?
So, like, say for instance, because I know you want to hit those mid-level managers. Say for instance, you have a mid-level manager, and I've experienced this before, that had more experience and knowledge than their supervisor.
Mhm.
I would say figure out a way how you can use your gift and maybe something else.
Right.
Because I made the mistake
Oh
when
man.
I was young
Yeah.
and things were moving, and I thought I was the smartest person
Mm.
on the thing, and I had two supervisors that weren't doing anything. I blindsided them.
Mm.
I had their supervisor call a meeting, didn't tell them,
Mm.
and they walked in. It's like, oh, what are you doing here, Kareem? And I made the mistake of not going to them and letting them try to see if they could fix it first. And what happened was that now I messed up.
Right.
And I was like sitting there like, well, I'm just trying to fix things. But what I learned from that is that even though that you might know more or you could do a better job, maybe you do something else. Maybe it's like doing an additional duty. Maybe
Right.
it's volunteering at a nonprofit and using that skill, and then people notice it. But yeah, man, that was a big lesson.
Yeah, I've been there before, so that's why I'm laughing. It's
Yeah,
like,
it was a big lesson, man.
yeah.
And it was like, but I didn't get it to probably like years later.
Uh-huh.
At first I was like, hey, these people, they're a little bit older. They don't want to move fast. They've been here for a long time. What's going on? But then we became good friends after.
Okay. Okay.
So
Good.
we had a
Good.
cordial thing. I think they knew what I was trying to do, but
Right.
I didn't know at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. They just look at it like you was usurping their authority.
That's right. That's right. And which I was.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah.
And so I would tell people, if your leader doesn't acknowledge all the gifts and the skills you have, maybe you try it someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you go to a nonprofit. Maybe you do consulting on the side or something. You have a skill, and maybe other people want to pay you for it.
Right. Good advice. I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause
No.
it can be hard, man. I mean, like when you're working for leaders, they see so much stuff,
Mhm.
but then you just see your little piece.
Right. Right.
So, like, if you are a manager or a leader of a team, they might have 5 team leaders that are reporting to them.
Okay. Got it.
So
Got it.
their view is totally different.
Yeah. 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 That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like I have an employee right now. He's been with us 2 years. He started in high school, he graduated, and he's like, I don't want to work here anymore.
Mm.
Right? And I see the total business,
Right.
right? And so, looking at the total business, we're like, well, if we lose him, is it going to be a big loss? And my wife right now is like, probably not.
Right. Right.
But if you go someplace else, we always want people to grow.
Mm.
So yesterday, when I was talking to him, I said, hey, man, have you called these people? Have you reached out to these people? They can find you a better paying job, or they can help you out more.
Right.
I said, but you have a limitation. He doesn't have transportation.
Okay. Okay.
And so right now, people that work at the business provide transportation for him. So I said, what are you going to do? If you do get another job, how are you going to get to work?
Right.
He's like, I don't know yet. So I'm trying.
That'd be your first step.
Yeah. So I'm trying to help him out. He has a learning disability and stuff like that. So I'm like, listen, man. I said, yes, I know you want to make more money, but try to figure out now.
Right.
Because if they offer you a job, you can't get to work. You're not going to get paid.
Yeah.
This case, people are picking you up,
Right.
and bring you to work.
Mm-hmm. Working for your franchise.
Yeah. So good person. So, those are the things where I tell people you might have a view of a specific thing, but then the leader might be looking at all these things.
Right, right, right. That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a broad spectrum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And how do you get people like I tell people, and you probably notice too, the amount of time and money you're gonna spend for training a new person is you're gonna lose money.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So if you could keep the people that
Hmm.
you're dealing with now, people like, oh, I just fired people. Yeah, really, you fired people, and after a while,
Yeah.
you're gonna be working harder.
Yeah, yeah. The cost of rehiring could be. Yeah.
So I said, can you work with the people you have now?
Right.
If
Right.
yes, yes. If no, then I'll just move on.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You know.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Mm.
Looking back, what forward-thinking decision are you most grateful you made?
Wow, that's a man. I got to think about that. What forward decision did I? I do a lot of planning, but then I do these like, let's do this now,
Mhm.
right? In which I think is a good skill, is a bad skill too.
Mhm.
So because so many people think, but they never do.
Right.
So like I hear a lot of people, especially like the work I do with the Wake County that program, people want to start a business, but they don't do it,
Yeah.
or they're like, hey, I'm gonna do this when, versus doing like, how about you make a decision and you make it happen, right? And so I would say thinking of in the future, like, hey, we wanted to own more businesses. That's my big goal too. I want to see if I could buy some more businesses or help people out with
Right.
some
Right.
businesses. Right now, I'm looking at like, hey, maybe I don't buy the business fully, but maybe I go and do consulting and I get a piece of the business,
Mhm.
or get like a contract where they pay me every month to help them grow the business. So yeah, so I'm figuring out things like that
Okay.
because hey, we all got a expiration time on us.
Right. 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 Yeah. 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 You want to evolve as an entrepreneur and a businessman. So
Yeah,
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 that
yeah.
makes sense.
And there's a lot of people that's doing great things out here. I just think sometimes people, like I was on a call yesterday, somebody's trying to sell their business,
Hmm.
but the partner doesn't want to do it.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, well,
That's a tough one.
yeah. I'm like, what happens if that partner, because the partner is the main glue of that business, what
Mm.
happens if that partner is never around again?
Right.
It was like, we talked about it, but we never planned for it. I said, so if
Mm.
that partner's not around, you're not making money.
Right. Right.
So what do you do? Like, if that person gets sick and they get ill, they can't function, you should have a plan for that.
Right. So having that exit strategy or transition strategy is important.
Yeah, yeah. So like right now, man, I've been talking to my wife about that. I said, listen, hey, I bring in most of the income for my family of the stuff that I do. I'm like, we need to have a plan. If something happens to me, I mean, yes, we got life insurance, but no, what's that plan if I'm incapacitated, if I can't do a
Mm.
coaching contract? Like, we got to figure that out. Like,
Right. 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 Yeah.
so, and people should think about it because it happens. Like, you never know. You might, people get sick, accidents happen,
Mhm.
things happen, so,
Right. 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 Yeah.
so at least you have some plan. At least it can help you out.
Yeah. Planning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to plan. That's you have a family and you have that.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, even if you they don't have a plan, but have like, hey, if this happens, this is what we're gonna do.
Mhm.
If that happens, what happens is that people get shocked because there's no plan,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like people that's worked for the government 20, 30 years, government shut down. Some people don't have a plan.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
the government shuts down. What if they shut down, never open back up again?
This is true. Yeah. You never know what's that. You might just get somebody in office that want to set everybody down, and that's
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. What happens if this whole area is I don't want to say that. If this whole area has a big disaster,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and you can't even get to this neighborhood
Right. Right. Right.
for
Yeah.
like 2-3 weeks.
Right.
What would you do for like
Yeah. Yeah.
like and I've seen it before where, and you probably seen it before, where people did construction.
Mhm.
They didn't notify the community,
Mhm.
and that business is wrecked because now their customers can't ever get to that
Oh
business.
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, what would you do if that happened? Like, some people's like, that would never happen. I'm like, man, it
Yeah.
has.
We don't think COVID would happen, but you never know what might happen.
You never know,
Yeah.
man. And,
Yeah.
and it can happen again. And that's the thing about it. Like, people like, oh, I don't think, man, it could happen again.
Right. Yeah.
Let a virus, let an illness, man,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
like every my kids, the school they go to, they always send out every day, hey, this person has this, like, we got colds going on. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, we times that by XYZ more school.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And I heard measles is back. And,
Yeah.
Crazy.
It can happen, man. So that's the thing about, like, even if you have like, all right, if this happens, this is what we're gonna do. You know, is at least have some things that you're gonna have to do. At least it'll make it much easier.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
Mm.
I like that. Well, Kareem, good insight today.
Thank you, man.
And
Thank you
stopping
for the
by. I
time.
appreciate you. Season 1, episode 5 of the Flight Plan podcast. Stay tuned for episode 6. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.